Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of NC-17. Today we have an amazing actress with us. Her name is Chloe Lutz, right? Lutz?
Lutz.
Lutz. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It should have two little dots over it, but it doesn't.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing. I have had a great day. How about you?
Excellent. Long day at work, but pretty good.
I get that. Me too.
Oh yeah. So before we get into your movies, if you can give a little bit of a background of like, was this something you've always wanted to do, or did it just kind of like fall in place?
So, kind of both of those situations. So I've always wanted to make stories of some sort when I was younger. I would always create little videos with my toys with my DS or my mom's phone, and I would act them out. I would make little trailers with my cousin, and I would just do all that sort of stuff, but I never thought it would become a profession necessarily. And then I started posting videos to a little known app called TikTok, and I started getting a little bit of traction there, and it gave me a lot of confidence to think that this was something I could do. And I was in theater in school as well, which inspired me a lot to try out acting. I didn't make it into the shows a lot of the time, but but I did keep going. And yeah, I just found out that I could do it, and if I just kept training hard enough, something would happen. And amazingly, it's happened, and I'm so grateful.
Oh yeah. So going from theater to film, was that a easy transition, or was it kind of like, this is one monster and this is another monster?
They're completely different. You have to be so much smaller, I guess, in film. And oh, just zoomed out. Don't mind my green wall. But I yeah, it's a completely different thing to tackle. And I had my mom with me for a while because I was a minor for a while when I was doing film, and she would always be like, "You're doing your theater voice again," because I would be a little less expressive with my theater voice because it was, reaching the rest of the house and not so little for camera like it should. That's what that would pick up. So it was a little difficult getting out of the theater voice and getting into a more detailed mindset, I guess.
Uh, so getting into the movies, your first kind of like auditions and stuff like that, did you find those kind of intimidating, or was it just exciting at the moment?
It was terrifying. I was terrified. I was so scared to show myself in that way and share that vulnerability. And as much it was also exciting because people were willing to audition me, but it was still just terrifying. And I just had to learn how to trust myself. And there's one audition that I did for an agency, my first audition ever. And the video, I watched it once, never watching it again. My face is tomato red, and my hair is frizzy. It's before I even knew how to take care of my curls, and that I learned that like through this industry. And I just look a mess. So she could say that she did not do very well. She thought it was scary.
Oh yeah. Uh, so entering the entertainment business at a young age, do your friends look at you differently, or is it kind of like, they're there and they're being supportive?
My friends are so supportive. It's like incredible how supportive everyone around me is. They believed in me before I believed in myself. They were so sure that I had a good personality for it, that I had the talent for it. And me personally, I was like, no, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. And so they've always been super supportive. There has never been um, a doubt in my mind that they would, treat me different, and they never have. Of course, there's the occasional when you're famous, don't forget me. That silly joke, but besides that, it's been very normal.
Oh yeah. And getting your foot in the door, so to speak, with TikTok, did you find that that was the avenue that kind of you wanted to take, or was that just by accident?
Um, well, it was completely kind of by accident. It was just me doing something fun. I was reenacting, acting audios, and I thought it was funny, and I enjoyed it because I didn't really have an acting voice yet. Like I didn't have the confidence to speak with my own voice yet. And so just practicing those little emotions and stuff for camera was really helpful. But yeah, I wouldn't have seen myself doing it full time or like, doing it as much as I am now. When I first posted an acting TikTok, I was like, this is fun. I'll dress up and do this. And then I tested out like my storytelling. I told little stories and I did makeup and stuff. It was just a little creative outlet.
You were also on a TV show that a lot of people would know, Chicago PD.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience on that one? Because I know it was one episode, right?
Yes.
What was your experience on that set?
It was a blast. It was so fun. I was shocked by how actors are treated on big sets just because I was like, whoa, this is new. I'm getting my hair and my makeup done. And but I found it really funny just because it was so shocking. My mom was even just as surprised. She was like, whoa, we have a trailer, we have food in the fridge, we have people to talk to. Like it was all sorts of stuff, but it was so cool. And it being kind of one of my first projects, it was so shocking to be there so fast. And I was like so excited. I was just ear to ear grinning the whole day.
Oh yeah. Your first thing I think was the killer's confession.
It was, yes, that's the person that came out. Yes.
Yeah. Can you kind of give a little synopsis of what that is? Because I personally haven't seen it. I have seen some of your other stuff though.
So it's this man who basically is confessing to these horrible crimes he's done, and it goes through the story of his wife finding out about this other side of him. And it's really a unique story, I feel, because he has this emotional connection with his first murder, and that's me. Spoiler alert. But I play JoJo, and it's a very disappointing moment for her, but a very revolving moment for him. And it's a really interesting short film.
And then you were in two other shorts, The Recovery 2 and The Recovery 3. You played Devin.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's also with, I think that was directed by Paul Allen.
Yes, yes.
We're going to get to the big one with him here in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could give a little bit into the detail of like your character and how you played into the roles for both those shorts.
The Recovery is such a beautiful story. It's about addiction, it's about family, it's about overcoming, it's about tragedy, it's about facing fears. It's really incredible. And my character comes in after the first film, which is about the brother and sister relationship, and then the sister goes off to um, uh, safe haven, like to get help. And that's when my character comes in and she meets her brother for the first time. And she there's a it it's it was hard to get into it just because I've never had a strained relationship with a sibling. I'm very close with all my siblings, so I kind of had to learn how to um that was my first role where I really had to change my personality, and I had to attack it in a different way. And it was a very emotional film, that second one, especially with the ending. And it's really hard, but it was really interesting to film. And the way Paul handled it all was so beautiful. And the relationships that were built on screen were really cool, and well, not cool, but like really, really pretty. And then the tragedy at the end. And then the third one, it kind of picks up, and you're able to kind of see that relationship heal between Devin and her brother, and it's really pretty. But yeah, it was kind of difficult. I've never been in the situations that Devin has been in, so it was hard to tap into that. But I was really intrigued to get that story told as truthfully as I could.
Uh, so that being said, when you're on set and you're doing different films, because you got like seven projects getting ready to come out, uh, each character played differently. Do you find it more difficult to like draw inspiration as some of these characters, or is it something you draw from in your personal life?
A lot of the time, I'm able to draw from something personal and then like morph it into their story. Because it all should be coming from real emotion that you felt so that it can be as realistic as possible. In my opinion, that's kind of how I take acting. And so I try to draw from real experiences. I try to draw from things I've witnessed, things I've talked about, things I've heard about. And I kind of try to take all of that into account and build those characters from there. It is difficult because a lot of these characters are nothing like, which I'm really grateful for people to take the chance of on me to portray these incredibly different characters. But yeah, it's difficult in its own right, but it's also a really fun process to build up and grow as an actor.
Oh yeah. You were also in, and I just watched this earlier today, The First Harvest.
Mm-hmm.
You played Sophia uh, Biggs. I didn't want
Yes.
to get that wrong. uh, so your character in that movie kind of, well, I'll let you describe it, but filming that movie again with Paul Allen, who has a keen eye but for things, but not only did you act in it, you wrote it too. You helped write it.
Yes, I helped write one scene.
Yeah. Uh, would you say that with your character in there, you had to be really vulnerable in that movie?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because it's sort of a hostage situation. I forget what that word is. The word where it's Stockholm syndrome. It was
Yeah.
a Stockholm syndrome situation. So outside of the character, I was like, why is she acting like this? Like she should not be. She should not be with this man. She should not be trusting him. She should not be giving him the time of day. She should be spitting on him like he kidnapped her. But at the same time, it's like you have to see the human in her, you have to see the human in him because she's seeing the human in him. And so that was such a hard thing to dial into because as a as me, I'm like, these people are horrible, these types of people are horrible. But at the same time, Jay's story is so much more detailed than that. It's not just that he's just a monster. There's so much more to it. Um, and that's kind of what the second story is about. But yeah, it was difficult, but it was really fascinating. And like I found new parts of myself playing her, and that was really interesting to do.
Oh, yeah. Uh, so when I was watching it, and I'm gonna give you my take because I'm just
Yeah.
weird like that. But in watching it, it was I did definitely pick up on the Stockholm syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
But I picked up on a more of not that everyone is a monster, even though some can be seen as a monster.
Yes.
And I think that the characters kind of played off of each other in a manner of, well, there was a brother and sister, but it was also kind of like a brother and sister with you and him.
Yeah.
Would you say that in the character of Jay and your character, the
Mm-hmm.
one scene where you come up against the two bounty hunters that find you guys,
Right.
would you say that that's something your character 100% would have done, or is it just something that was instinct?
So I think after a while, she saw what Jay was doing, and it wasn't his intention was never to hurt her. It was almost a way of protection. And so the way they built the relationship, I think she ended up taking his side on things because she was like, he's protecting me, I should protect him. And I don't necessarily think she would have done that if she wasn't with him for so long beforehand. But because she's learned so much about him and that she's learned that he's different, I think that made sense for her at the time. If she was with him for a couple of days, I don't think she would have done that at all. I think it really did take that convincing almost just because of all that time and her brain kind of being scattered. Like you have to think she wasn't being really taken care of. She was in the cold. She was not probably not eating very well. He wasn't there very much. Um, and then having these conversations with him and his personality, like that is such a hard thing. And Sophie is a young girl as well, so she's very influenced. And yeah, I just think it was instinct in a way, but also it was her choice for what she's been through at the time.
Oh, yeah. Uh, so you said you helped write a scene. Can you elaborate on what scene that was?
I wrote the scene between Emily and her therapist. Uh, Paul came to me and asked me if I wanted to help write and asked me if I wanted to, collaborate in this scene. And I was like, absolutely, because I love writing. And I just tried to give that scene as much emotion as I could that was realistic to what Emily was going through. And I tried to make it realistic with what she was going through. And it was difficult knowing that I was writing a scene in a movie I'm going to be in, let alone like a movie that's going to come out. That was really shocking because everything I've written has not come out. So there was a little pressure, but I was really excited, and I wanted Paul to be proud of it. I wanted to be proud of it. I wanted everyone to be proud of it who was performing it, and it turned out beautiful. I mean, they're beautiful actors. So,
Oh yeah. Uh, so it being an independent film,
mm,
the a lot of people would look at it and be like, okay, independent in the last a decade has taken leaps and bounds forward. Do you feel comfortable in the independent industry, part of the industry, or do you like foresee maybe possibly something bigger?
well, right now, honestly, I'm kind of just looking forward. I obviously every actor kind of hopes to continue growing into bigger and bigger projects. But the stuff I'm doing, I'm so incredibly proud of, and I'm so incredibly excited to do a lot of the stuff I'm about to do. So I'm really just focused on that, and my excitement is out of this world right now about everything I have coming up. So I can't even imagine what I'm going to be doing down the road. And I'm just really grateful right now and just kind of sitting in that.
Uh, uh, so without spoiling anything, there seems to be at the end of the first harvest a couple twists at the end.
Mm-hmm.
When you were reading the script and you saw those twists, what was you thinking?
I think I set the script down and I walked away for a minute just because I was like, okay. And not in a bad way at all. I was just not expecting it. And I think Paul's really good at that. I think Paul's really good at writing unexpected endings. And so that was really interesting to witness and be a part of, and knowing my character was going to kind of know that that's happening. So I was thinking both reacting to it as me and reacting to it as Sophia. And both were very different because I was shocked, and Sophia's mind, it's much different. It's like it's her world, and she's shocked as well, but in a completely different way. And then it all has to come to an unraveling in the second one, basically, and it's a lot. It's a crazy ending to the first film. A
Oh
lot of
yeah.
twist.
So my take on the I love a good twist.
Mm-hmm.
Like I find it difficult to like if to surprise me.
Yeah.
And after your character was seen after being saved,
Mm-hmm.
I'll spoil that. I'm sorry, but I was like, okay, they made mention of you, but then all of a sudden it was like this happened, and I'm like, where the hell did that come from?
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
It's shocking. I mean, I'm sure everybody who read that script was shocked about the ending just because it's so unexpected given like the line of events that happened leading up to it. Yeah.
oh yeah. Uh, so you're also in a movie, Dracula the Count's Kin.
Yeah.
If you could give a little, you play Margaret.
Hmm.
If you could give a little bit of a synopsis on that one and kind of what your character, how your character plays into the role.
So the Dracula the Count's Ken. It is about a detective played by Daisy. She is looking for this murder that's around, that's killing people, and there's all these details about it that just make no sense. They don't line up. And then she is trying to figure out the secret, and she thinks it could be a vampire. And so she goes around and looks for it with other detectives, and they come across some crazy findings. and and one of the crazy findings being performed by the incredible Leanne Johnson. She did incredible as Elizabeth, and yeah, it was really cool to see her perform as well. And it was great to see any of them perform. I was starstruck, like I was stunned when I got on that set. I was so excited to work with everyone. It was so fun, and they're the most down to earth people ever. So I got very less nervous after meeting them. And then Margaret Shelley, she is a little podcaster. She wants to be famous. That's all she wants, and she will do anything to get there. So
That's
even
awesome.
after being warned.
Would you say that outside of like the cast, would you say that there was one scene in particular in that movie that you filmed without spoiling anything that kind of caught you off guard?
Yes, yes. Oh my gosh. This I just got so excited to talk about this because this was so scary. So there's a scene that I may or may not be sitting in, may or may not be blindfolded in. And there I was blindfolded when we filmed it, and I knew the gist of the scene, but I didn't exactly know what was happening behind me, nor did I know what crazy great things that the actress in the scene with me was going to perform. And so when it happened, I was actually genuinely so scared because it was just little noises and I was in this basement and I was blindfolded. It was so dark. And so I heard all these noises. This happened. I was giving like genuine reaction. And then our director, Eric, he was like, can you tone it down a little bit? Like, kind of react a little less. And I was like, I'm genuinely scared. What do I do? Like, how do I react differently? But I understand what he was saying because I was probably really overreacting. I'm a very expressive person naturally, if you can't tell. And so yeah, that was a really fun scene to film and really caught me off guard when we filmed it.
Uh, and then you're also you play Serena in Tin Roof.
Yeah.
Can you give a synopsis on that one and again about your character?
It is a movie. It is a slasher film. It is a camp slasher film written by Rob Mello and directed by Rebecca Reinhart. I actually wasn't in it that much. I was an extra who became featured and was given the opportunity to name my own character by Rebecca, which was very, very kind. It was my first ever project, first ever time being on a set. So it was super exciting to be kind of featured a little bit. And my character, she's just a person of the town. She's watching what's going down. Everyone's shocked. She's very confused on what's happening, just like everybody else. It was a lot of fun to film, though.
Uh, so before we get into the projects you got coming up, uh,
Mm-hmm.
being a young person in the industry, what would you tell somebody who is younger than you that's trying to get into the industry? What would you tell them? What would you say to them? What advice would you give them?
Um, my biggest advice is what I always went by was just keep going. Just keep going. Things might happen. And things might keep going for you. You can't give up. You just have to keep going. Like just keep stepping forward foot by foot. It'll work out in the end. And yeah, just look up. Don't let anything take you down.
Uh, uh, Advice you'd give 10-year-old you that you know now that you didn't know then. What advice would you give yourself?
I gotta think on that one. I mean, just yeah, never doubt yourself. Never doubt yourself. There was a lot of doubt in my younger head that was worried about it, and everything happening. And I was worried about succeeding so much that I was having a little less fun at one point. This was before I was cast in anything, when I was really just trying to get my foot in the door in the first place. I was just doubting myself. I was like, maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'm not fit for it. But girl, you got to keep going because there's so much more in front of you. And yeah, it's just that. Just keep looking up. Don't doubt yourself. There's so much more to come.
Oh yeah. Uh, is there someone in the industry that you haven't worked with that you would love to work with?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a lot of indie filmmakers I would love to work with. I'm trying to think of names. I'm blanking. I've been sick for the past couple of days. I'm blanking.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
no, 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 you're fine. Uh, I'm, hold on. There's someone in particular that I'm looking for. Uh, there are just so many directors. There's so many great directors out there that I would really love to work with, and for some reason, none of the names are coming up. Um, there are a lot of people that I was looking up to. I've actually ended up working with. So I guess that's kind of hard to answer, just because everyone I've worked with, they have been so inspiring and incredible. Um, and yeah, I there's so many people, I guess, so many people like higher up people that are in union and indie filmmakers. There's so many, um, and I'm just hoping, I catch their eyes.
Oh yeah. Uh, so I'm gonna backtrack a minute because Paul Allen is actually going to be on the show later this month.
Hmm.
Working with him and working with Holly and just everyone on the first harvest, what was that like?
It was so magical. Everyone was so kind, and it being my first role in a film, like prominent role in a film, everyone was so kind. They were so patient. They were so open. They welcomed me with open arms. Paul was super exciting. When I first showed up on set, I just came to set to kind of watch and see what was going on. And Holly, she ended up coming to my car where I got out with my dad, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, hi!" And she introduced herself, and she was so kind the second I stepped on. And then Derek McMahon, who played my dad, he was also super, super kind. I met him and his son that first day, and he was all like, "Daughter," like he was so for that relationship, and it was really sweet. And so it was just all really exciting. Again, another situation where I was grinning ear to ear. I was uber excited. Like I couldn't fathom what was happening because I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm on another set. Yay."
Oh yeah. Now you do have a movie coming up. Actually, you got about three that are coming up that caught my eye.
Mhm.
First one is Return of the Corn Zombies.
Yeah.
You play Kathleen.
Hmm.
I've talked to a couple people who are going to be on that movie, or who are in that movie and stuff like that. What's your reaction to being cast in that movie?
It was shocking. So Michelle Hafner actually recommended me to SJ, who then SJ Herman, who then messaged me and was like, "Hey, would you be interested?" And I have never met any of them, so I was a little weary just because it was so far away from where I lived. It was in Illinois, and I was just a little weary just because it was a long travel. This would have been my first project that was kind of really far away. Um, but I trusted Michelle, and I was like, absolutely. And that was probably one of my favorite decisions I've ever made. Like, I'm so happy I was part of that film, and it was such a blast. It was such a blast, and the writing was incredible and so fun to play with.
Uh, uh, and then the next one is Perfect Soul, and you play Nikki Strange.
Mhm.
Uh, Brief synopsis on that one, and just kind of what your character and how it plays in.
So the synopsis is that the story follows a girl named Nikki Strange who lives in a town called Perfect that is not so perfect. And everyone is basically they all have masks on, and no one is as perfect as they seem. And then as for Nikki, she's a very emotional girl, I guess. She's going through life trying to figure it out with all these people saying stuff in her head, and she's just trying to figure it all out as a young girl who is also trying to stick to her faith but also doesn't know what to stick to. So it's a lot of confusion for her.
Uh, and then the one that catches my eye, just because I love slashers and just by the
Mm-hmm.
name tells me it's going to be a slasher, Blood on the Bleachers.
Yeah.
You play Kimberly. So, so I'm going to fanboy out a little bit because I love slasher movies, but please do tell what that movie is about.
So it follows this girl named Hannah, and she is in this class that is talking about all these murders, and she realizes that the murderer may still be around. And so she's interested to see, she's interested to make connections and figure out what's going on because these murders are very specific and she's a very smart girl and she's basically just trying to piece the pieces together.
All right. And how's your character playing to it?
Well, I play Kimberly, who is Hannah's best friend. And Kimberly is just like the don't care about school, don't care about anything. Hey Hannah, let's party. You don't want to party, whatever. Like she's like, we're gonna party anyway, and I'm gonna make you break out of your shell, and you're gonna deal with it. She's a firecracker. She's so fun, and she is just really trying to fit in because I feel she wants that to be her life. She wants to be that cute girl that's in school. She wants to have that look, and she's having a blast doing it. And then trying to string Hannah along, get her out of class. But Hannah's like, no, I'm good.
uh, so being in slasher films and kind of like dramas and stuff like that, dealing with different practical effects, do you feel that there was one effect in any of the movies you've been in that kind of like resonates with you and like you're in shock and all that it went off better than what you thought?
um, there were a couple in Blood on the Bleachers. I can't say much about it at all, but oh my goodness, the SFX that is done by Hunter is incredible. It was so incredible to see. It was so incredible to because I do SFX myself, so cool to watch his process and how realistic it looked and how disgusting it looked. It was rough. And like watching it happen and how they got there and everything, it was rough. But the storytelling was brilliant. The way they play with the camera, the way they play with the characters, it was so fun to watch. And then I gotta give credit to another one, which is the corn zombie makeup. Wow, wow, there's so much detail. Beth is incredible at doing that makeup. She like I had the honor to help her that first day, just because we were kind of running late on time or whatever the situation was, and I offered to help, and she taught me how to do it, which thank oh my goodness, I was so excited. I was like, oh, I get to do SFX and I get to do new SFX. This is new to me, and so she taught me how to do it, and it was so neat. We used like toilet paper, we used real hard corn, we used corn husks. Like it was so great, and the actors who are the zombies were just so incredible to have that all over their faces and hands and bodies. It was amazing.
Uh, so with the one scene you wrote, do you see writing more in the future for you?
Yeah. I've written a couple features. I've written a few shorts. And I love writing. I would for sure do it for a full film. It's just really hard to get funding, and obviously, I'm more focused on acting. Acting is my diehard passion. That's what I want to do. But writing is just so fun, and I would love to do that more. And I would love to write more if anyone wanted to collaborate. And I'm actually working on a book right now, just a fantasy book. I don't know if that'll ever come out, but I'm having fun writing it and figuring out the story.
Uh, uh, so again, being I know I mentioned it in a couple times, but being young in the industry, do you see that you get are they trying to typecast you, or are they just like putting you in roles that fit who you are?
Well, I think I don't know if it was necessarily typecasting as much as it was just my style of acting. Because for a while I was just playing victim, I was just playing daughter, victim, teenage girl that was caught in the wrong time, like all that type of thing. But I've also now played some sort of breakout roles to get out of that and show people and show people what I can do now. And I've really been exploring different sides of myself to build those versions of acting for myself, and it's been really cool. But yeah, I think for a minute there I was because I was young, so I couldn't really do much. Like not actually my capability, but just because I was so much younger, I think it's a little uncomfortable in indie filmmaking to have younger people do a lot of stuff, just because it's so much easier to just get it's easier and safer to have an older adult do stuff, do specific things like murder someone, or because I obviously did not have the training to do a lot of that stuff. So it had to do a little bit with my experience and everything, but I've grown from then.
Oh yeah. Uh, so this is going to be the moment where I actually compare you to a couple of actresses that I'm 45. I'm old as shit, so excuse my language. But with the first Harvest, I just from what I've picked up, your character and acting style was that of Sissy Spacek and Carrie before Carrie, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like vulnerable but capable,
Yeah.
you know. And
On
then
a
and then Shelley Duvall, God rest her soul, from The Shining, with the determination of you're going to succeed in what you want to do.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's thank you so much. That one's really big being compared to Shelley Duvall. She was incredible.
All right. But that's just me being like, I do that with everybody. Like,
Yeah.
I even do it
Well,
with my
thank
wife.
you. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. But yeah, now that I made a jackass out of myself, no, just
No, 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 not at all. I love it.
uh, so is there a specific movie, type of movie you haven't made yet that you want to make?
Coming of age. Oh, I'm obsessed with coming of age movies. I think they're so pretty, and I would love to be in something like that. Because I think it would be a different test. It wouldn't be as well. I mean, it would be pretty emotional, but it wouldn't be as it'd be an emotional in a different way as like getting attacked or getting kidnapped or getting killed, whatever, in a slasher film or horror film, compared to just going through the traumas of life rather than traumas that were forced upon you. And I think that would be really incredible. I would love to be in a coming of age film. I think they're so pretty, and I think they have so much to say.
Eh, Believe it or not, I have seen some coming of age films. I mean, I'm a horror fan, but I've seen some. So are you talking coming of age like Sister of the Traveling Pants, or I think that's what it's called, or coming of age like My Girl?
Well, honestly, I would love to be in a coming of age, sort of like Little Women. Like
Ah,
period piece coming of age would be incredible. I would love a period piece, period would be really cool. So I guess that too. But coming of age of like growing up, witnessing, as a teenager, those kind of horrors as a teenager, or like growing up sort of, so stuff like that. I really am a fan of Saoirse Ronan, so she's kind of my go-to when I talk about coming of age films, and Timothy Chalamet obviously, but Saoirse Ronan specifically, I would love to do stuff like kind of she did, like with Lady Bird and with uh Little Women. I think that'd be really cool.
Lady Bird is actually a really good movie.
Lady Bird is really good, and it's a little confusing, which I think why it doesn't get a lot of credit. But if you really pay attention and you look at those details and the quick shots, it has so much detail, and it's so amazing. I love it.
Oh yeah. Uh, what would you if all right, anyone who you've worked with so far, what would you say to them if you haven't said to them already? Like just in general.
Gosh, there's so many people I would love to just like tackle in a hug. Um, uh, Rebecca Reinhart and Rob Mello, I love you guys. You guys gave me my first out. They Gosh, I thought I completely failed as an actor on that set because my phone went off during a set or a scene, and I was like, I'm an extra. I'm never acting again. But they ended up talking highly of me, and they were so kind to me, and I couldn't thank them enough. And I'm just gonna thank them first because they were the first to push me out there, basically. And then Paul Allen is next. Gosh, he gave me the start. I adore that man. He is such a great writer. He's a great collaborator. He gave me so many outlets to try new things. He's let me do SFX in his films. He's let me write in his films. Like, he gives so many people an outlet, and I think that's incredible. And thank you. And then just every director I've worked with. I'm trying to think in order. Heidi McCack, I love you. Holly Anspaugh, I work with her so much and I can't stop adoring that woman. She's incredible. Rock Anthony Bates, thank you for letting me try out a new character that's completely different and kind of let me break out of my shell. S.J. Herman, I adore you so much. He's incredible. He is letting me do so many things that are new to me, and he's giving me such a outlet in its own, and it's so cool, and he's so collaborative, and he lets me do so many things that I've never tried, and that's so cool. Chase Dudley, I appreciate him so much. He has given me so much to work with, and he's given me so many different characters to work with, and his direction helped me so much, and his sets truly have grown me as an actor. Madison Crable, I adore her. She's amazing. She's in North Carolina, or I don't know if she's still in North Carolina, but I work with her in North Carolina. She was incredible. Thank you. And am I missing someone? I don't know. Oh, Eric Pasquarelli. Oh, I thank you, man. Saying that. Gosh, I appreciate him a lot too. The Margaret Shelley character was such a fun one, and being a part of his films is such an honor. And yeah, just every actor that has ever made me feel comfortable, every camera person or camera tech DP that has ever collaborated with me so well. I appreciate you all. I appreciate everyone. It's like, this is so cool to be doing it all with you. And there are so many names I didn't say that just know I appreciate you. And yeah, thank you.
Uh, one final question, then I'm going to let you plug all your socials. What was your family's reaction when you started making movies?
So my siblings are really funny about it. My brother Chance was immediately like, "I'll be your bodyguard," and then my brother Alex was like, "I'll drive you anywhere you need to be." And then my oldest brother Dylan, he was like, "I'll go to all your premieres with you," and I think that's so funny. And then my sister, she was like, "Do not put me in the limelight. I'll be back here. I'll woo." Like, that's basically what she was. And then my parents, so I first came to them and I was like, "Hey, so if I find an agency, would you take me to audition?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." like you're gonna find one, like that exists in Indiana. And I did, and they were like, "Okay." And they have been incredibly supportive since. And before that happened, for a while, I was asking to act, and then my brother Alex, he ended up being like, "Just tell them you're going to do it." And I was like, "Oh, you're so right." So I did. And I just convinced them to let me do it. And I think they're incredibly proud of me, and I'm really grateful for all of my family.
That's awesome. All right, so this will be the segment where you get to plug all your socials and where people can see your films, and if you want people reaching out to you and stuff like that, feel free.
So I am Chloe Lutz, CHLOELUTZZ on almost everything, on Instagram. And then I'm Chloe Lutz on Facebook. I think it's that same username. I don't know how Facebook works with usernames. Honestly, I have been trying to figure that out for years. um, and then YouTube, you can go to the Paul Allen Network to find any of his work that I've done with him, and also any of his work. It's amazing. You can go to Tubi and Amazon to see Dracula the Count's Kin. You can find that there. A few other things are going to be coming out on platforms. If you follow my socials, you'll be able to locate those. I believe Return of the Corn Zombies is about to go out, which I'm really excited about. That will be distributed with, can't think of the name of the group, but it will be distributed soon. And yeah. Oh, I'm blanking. This is so fun.
It's okay.
My sick brain is really getting to me tonight.
I do apologize.
No, you're fine. It's the weather finally getting better. It said, "Oh, you think you're gonna be good? Allergies." Like, okay, thanks so much.
Very true. It's happening here too.
Yeah, exactly.
It has been an honor and a privilege. And you are more than welcome on the show anytime. I tell everybody who comes on here, NC-17, you have a home with us. You can come on here anytime, even if it's to say you got a booger in your nose. And one time I actually think I did, but whatever.
So now you're coming on here to say
Right.
that.
But no, you're more than welcome on anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. You're doing amazing things with this channel. Your podcast is great. I watched a bunch of episodes before I came on. And yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to see the rest of people that come on here.
Hey, when Corn Zombies comes out, probably have you back on because got to talk about the zombie stuff. That's my favorite genre.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great genre.
Oh yeah. All right, but you have been a pleasure, an honor, and I thank you. And until next time, everybody, stay NC-17.
Thank you.